Let me ask you a simple question. How many of you sitting here today find it easier to say I is to others than to say I is to yourself? Raise your hand, be honest. The pause, smile you see. Most of us are experts in taking care of everyone else's needs, but when it comes to our own well-being, our own happiness, our own dreams, we put ourselves last in the queue of life. And then we wonder, why am I so drained? Why do I feel unfulfilled? Why does no one value me? The truth is, when you don't put yourself first, the world won't either. Today, let's talk about why putting yourself first is not selfish, but necessary to live a meaningful, balanced, and fulfilling life. You know, in today's world, the moment someone hears the phrase, put yourself first, the first thought that comes is, oh, that's selfishness. But my friends, there is a big difference between selfishness and self-care. Let me explain. Imagine a lamp that has run out of oil. Can it give light to anyone else? No matter how much it wants to, it simply cannot. The lamp must first be refilled. Only then can it brighten up the darkness for others. In the same way, if you are mentally drained, emotionally exhausted, physically tired, and spiritually empty, what do you have left to give to others? Nothing but frustration, irritation, and burnout. Many of us have been raised to believe that being a good person means always putting others before ourselves. And yes, service is a virtue, sacrifice has its value, but there is a limit. If you keep giving from an empty heart, one day you will collapse. And then neither will you be able to help yourself nor anyone else. Think about it, even on an airplane, before takeoff, the air hostess says something very profound. In case of emergency, put your oxygen mask on first and then help the person next to you. Now, is that selfish? Not at all. It's common sense. Because only when you are breathing, only when you are safe, only when you are stable, you can actually serve others. Putting yourself first doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you take responsibility to recharge yourself, to nourish yourself, to be at your best version. When you eat well, rest well, and maintain peace of mind, you are not just helping yourself, you are indirectly helping everyone around you. Because then your presence becomes a source of calmness, your words become a source of encouragement, and your actions become a source of inspiration. The problem is, we often confuse martyrdom with goodness. We think if I sacrifice everything I want, if I always suppress my needs, if I make everyone else happy at the cost of my own well-being, then people will love me more. But what actually happens? The more you neglect yourself, the more drained and resentful you become. And instead of gratitude, you start feeling unappreciated. You end up giving love, but inside you feel empty. That's not service, that's self-destruction. So remember this truth. Taking care of yourself is not a luxury, it is your responsibility. Because when your cup is full, love overflows naturally. When your energy is charged, service becomes joyful. When your heart is at peace, relationships flourish. And when your mind is clear, your decisions uplift not only you, but everyone connected with you. One of the greatest struggles in life is learning to say no. We are so afraid of disappointing others, of hurting their feelings, of being seen as rude or selfish, that we stretch ourselves thin, agreeing to things we don't want to do, committing to things that drain us, just so people will think we are nice. But let me tell you something, people who always say yes to everyone else often end up saying the loudest no to themselves. Think about it, every time you say yes to something that goes against your energy, your time, your priorities, you are silently saying no to your own peace, to your own rest, to your own growth. And the irony is, most people don't even notice the sacrifice you are making. Because when you make yourself too available, when you say yes without hesitation, people stop valuing your time. Instead of appreciation, what you get is expectation. And slowly, what was once kindness becomes a burden. Boundaries, my friends, are not walls that keep people out. Boundaries are doors that teach people how to enter your life respectfully. When you set healthy limits, you are not rejecting others, you are protecting yourself. And when you protect yourself, you are actually protecting your relationships too. Because a relationship without respect for each other's boundaries will always lead to resentment. Let me give you a small example. Suppose you have a friend who calls you at midnight every other day just to talk about random things. You are tired, you need sleep, but you pick up because you don't want them to feel ignored. Now, initially you think, I'm being a good friend. But after weeks of poor sleep, irritation builds up. One day you snap at them, can't you stop disturbing me? And suddenly the relationship gets damaged. What could have saved it? A simple, respectful boundary. I care for you, but I need to sleep on time. Let's talk tomorrow. That's not rejection. That's honesty, and honesty is love. We think saying no will make people dislike us. But the truth is, those who truly love you will respect your no. And those who don't respect it probably don't deserve unlimited access to your time and energy. It is not your job to be available to everyone at the cost of your own sanity. If you really think about it, even nature teaches us boundaries. The ocean waves don't cross the shore endlessly. The sun rises and sets at a fixed time. Even your heartbeat has a rhythm. Without boundaries, there is no balance. So, remember this saying, no does not make you unkind, it makes you real. It makes you authentic. It makes you trustworthy. Because when you do say yes, people will know it's genuine, not forced. Boundaries don't push people away. They filter out the wrong ones and strengthen the right ones. And that, my friends, is how respect is born. So many of us live our lives chasing approval. We bend, we twist, we compromise, all to hear someone say, "You're good enough, I like you, I accept you." And yet the truth is, no matter how much you try, not everyone will approve of you. In fact, some people are determined not to. And if you make your peace depend on their opinion, you'll spend your entire life restless. I've seen people who can't say what they feel because they're afraid. What will people think? They don't pursue their dreams because someone might disapprove. They don't even dress the way they want because they're waiting for 1,000 invisible judges in their head to nod in agreement. But my friends, let me ask you, do these judges pay your bills? Do they live your life? Do they carry your burdens? The answer is no. So why do we give their opinions the power to steal our peace? Peace of mind is priceless. Approval is endless. No matter how much you chase it, you will never catch all of it. Today they say you're good. Tomorrow they say you're not enough. Today they clap. Tomorrow they criticize. And if your happiness swings with their words, you'll never stand steady. Let me share a story. Once, a man and his son were traveling with their donkey. As they walked, the man rode the donkey while the boy walked beside him. People saw and said, "What a cruel father, making his son walk in the heat while he rides comfortably." Hearing this, the father felt guilty. So he got down and made the son ride instead. Soon others saw and said, "What a disrespectful son, riding while his old father walks." Embarrassed, both decided to ride together. People saw again and exclaimed, "How cruel!" Both of them burdening the poor donkey. Frustrated, they both got off and started walking alongside the donkey. And again people mocked, "Look at these fools, walking when they have a donkey." No matter what they did, somebody had something to say. That's life. If you live for approval, you will be like that father and son, constantly changing, constantly restless, never at peace. But when you choose peace, when you choose what feels aligned with your values and your heart, then you live free. So stop sacrificing your inner peace on the altar of people's opinions. Start asking yourself, does this choice bring me calmness? Does it align with my principles? If yes, then go ahead, even if the world criticizes. Because let me tell you, people will talk no matter what. Let them. You don't need to silence the voices outside, you just need to silence the noise inside. When you prioritize inner peace over approval, your life changes. You sleep better at night. You wake up with clarity. You stop overthinking every word you said, every step you took. And most importantly, you stop being a slave to a crowd that doesn't even know what it wants. Approval is temporary, but peace is permanent. Choose peace, and approval will no longer control you. One of the greatest mistakes we make in life is underestimating our own worth. We live in a world that constantly measures us against others. How much you earn, how successful you look, how many followers you have, how quickly you achieve things. And when we don't fit into these molds, we quietly tell ourselves, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I don't matter as much as others. But my friends, let me remind you, if you undervalue yourself, don't be surprised when others do the same. The truth is, people often treat you the way you teach them to. If you treat yourself as insignificant, if you keep putting yourself down, if you let others walk all over you, they will believe that's what you deserve. Respect starts with how you respect yourself. If you don't recognize your worth, how will anyone else? I once met a young man who was incredibly talented. He could play instruments. He could sing beautifully. He had brilliant ideas. But he kept saying things like, "Oh, I'm not that good. I don't think anyone would care about my work. I'm just average." And because he kept saying that, guess what happened? People around him also treated him as average. They never took his gifts seriously. They overlooked him. Not because he wasn't good, but because he himself believed he wasn't good. His energy, his lack of confidence, told others exactly how to treat him. Think about a diamond. Imagine you walk into a shop and see a diamond ring priced at just a few rupees. What would you think? You'd immediately assume it's fake. Why? Because the price tag doesn't match the value of a real diamond. In the same way, if you put a cheap price tag on yourself, people will assume you're not real, you're not valuable. But when you know your worth, when you carry yourself with dignity, when you refuse to settle for less than respect, others begin to value you more. Knowing your worth doesn't mean arrogance. It doesn't mean walking around thinking you're better than everyone else. It simply means acknowledging that you are valuable, that your time matters, your dreams matter, your feelings matter. It means you don't let people treat you like an option when you deserve to be a priority. It means you don't let temporary opinions define your permanent identity. When you start valuing yourself, something beautiful happens. You attract better relationships, better opportunities, better energy, because the world responds to the standard you set for yourself. If you keep accepting less, life will keep giving you less. But the day you say, "I am worth more than this," everything around you begins to change. So I urge you, stop waiting for others to recognize your value. Stop waiting for applause, for approval, for someone else to remind you who you are. You are already worthy, you are already valuable, and until you see it, no one else will. Respect yourself enough to walk away from what doesn't serve you. Believe in your worth enough to pursue what sets your soul on fire. And carry yourself with the quiet dignity of someone who knows, I don't need to prove my value. I am valuable. Time, my friends, is the most valuable currency we have. Yet, strangely enough, it is the one we waste most carelessly. We spend hours, days, even years investing our energy into other people's opinions, other people's demands, other people's priorities, and then we sit back one day and wonder, where did my life go? The truth is simple. Your time is your life. How you spend your time is how you are spending your life. Many of us live as if time is unlimited, as if tomorrow is guaranteed. But every tick of the clock is a reminder that your life is moving forward, never backward. Every moment you waste on things that don't matter, on people who don't care, on worries that don't serve you, is a moment of your life that you will never get back. And yet, when someone asks for our time, we give it away so easily, without even thinking. Imagine this. If someone tried to take money out of your wallet, you would protect it immediately. But when people steal your time with meaningless conversations, endless distractions, unnecessary drama, you let them. Isn't it strange that we protect money, which can be earned again, but we don't protect time, which can never return? Let me share something with you. I once met an elderly man who said something very profound. When I was young, I traded my time for money. I thought I was smart. I worked day and night, earning more and more. But now, when I'm old, I'm trying to trade my money back for time. More years, more health, more life. And I realize, no matter how much money I spend, I can't buy back even a single day. That hit me deeply. Because it's true, time is the one thing money can't buy, yet it's the one thing we often waste the most. We spend so much time fulfilling other people's expectations. We say yes to events we don't want to attend. We scroll endlessly on things that don't feed our mind. We get stuck in conversations that drain us, all while ignoring the things that truly matter. Our passions, our growth, our family, our inner peace. Every yes you give to something meaningless is a no you are giving to something meaningful. So, my friends, start looking at time like the most precious treasure you own. Spend it wisely. Ask yourself, who deserves my time? What activities enrich my soul? What goals are worth the hours of my life? Because one day you will look back and the regret won't be about the money you lost. It will be about the time you wasted. Use your time to create memories, not just to chase deadlines. Use your time to grow, not just to impress. Use your time to love, to serve, to live with purpose. When you realize how short life is, you stop saying, I don't have time, and you start saying, I will make time for what truly matters. Remember this, time is slipping from your hands every single second. Don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't waste it in fear of judgment. Don't waste it on meaningless things. Invest it in yourself, in your growth, in your peace. Because once the moment passes, it never comes back. And the way you spend your time is the way you are writing the story of your life. One of the biggest illusions many of us carry is the belief that we can save everyone. We want to fix people, rescue people, carry their burdens, and somehow heal all their pain. And while the intention comes from love, the truth is, you simply cannot save everyone. If you try, you will only end up drowning with them. Think about the oxygen mask rule on an airplane. Every time you fly, before takeoff, the crew makes the same announcement. In case of an emergency, put your oxygen mask on first before helping others. Why do they say this? Because if you lose your breath, you won't be able to help anyone. In fact, you'll become another casualty, another problem to be solved. This simple instruction is not just for flights, it is a life lesson. Take care of yourself first, or you won't be able to truly take care of anyone else. I've met so many people who sacrifice their health, their happiness, their dreams just to carry others on their shoulders. They keep saying, "I'll be fine as long as they're okay." But slowly they begin to burn out. Their energy collapses. Their patience turns into frustration. And instead of helping, they end up hurting the very people they wanted to protect. Why? Because you cannot pour from an empty cup. If your light goes out, how will you light someone else's path? Imagine a man trying to pull another out of quicksand. If he is not standing on solid ground himself, both will sink. That is what happens when we try to save everyone without first securing ourselves. You may think you are being noble, but in reality, you are only accelerating your own downfall. And once you collapse, who will be there for the people you were trying to rescue? Sometimes love means stepping back. Sometimes compassion means allowing others to walk their own journey, to face their own lessons, to fight their own battles. You can guide them, you can support them, you can encourage them, but you cannot walk the path for them. If you try, you rob them of the strength they could have built, and you rob yourself of the balance you need. It is not selfish to say, "I need to take care of myself first." It is wisdom, because only when you are strong, only when you are steady, only when you are breathing fully, can you truly help someone else. The strongest lifeguards are those who know how to swim well themselves. The wisest teachers are those who never stop learning. The most compassionate hearts are those that first know how to be kind to themselves. So please remember, you are not the savior of the world. You are a part of it. And the best way you can uplift others is by staying strong yourself. Because when your foundation is secure, your presence becomes healing. When your energy is stable, your support becomes powerful. When your life is balanced, your guidance becomes authentic. Don't try to save everyone at the cost of losing yourself. Save yourself first, and from that strength, you will naturally uplift others. There is a very fine line between serving others and losing yourself in the process. Service is a beautiful thing. To care, to give, to uplift, it is one of the highest expressions of love. But here's the truth. True service can only come from a place of strength, not from sacrifice that empties you completely. Too many of us confuse burning ourselves out with helping others. And when we collapse, we call it service. But what kind of service leaves you broken, bitter, and exhausted? That's not service. That's neglect of the self. Think about this. A candle that keeps giving light without protecting its own flame will eventually burn itself down to nothing. And once it's gone, there is no more light for anyone. In the same way, if you keep giving without balance, if you keep sacrificing without preserving yourself, you will one day reach a point where you have nothing left to give. Then what? The very people who relied on you will be left in darkness. I once spoke to a woman who spent her entire life serving her family. She worked endlessly, sacrificed every personal dream, ignored her health, her hobbies, her inner joy, thinking, if my family is happy, then I will be happy. But years later, her health collapsed. She was tired, emotionally drained, and filled with silent resentment. She said, "I gave them everything, and now I feel like I have nothing left." This is the tragedy of unbalanced service. You give and give, but because you never cared for yourself, you reach a stage where you can no longer give at all. Now let me be clear, service is sacred. To help someone, to support, to sacrifice at times, that is noble. But balance is essential. If you ignore balance, you turn service into slavery. If you remember balance, you turn service into love. When you take time to nourish your own mind, when you rest your body, when you care for your own soul, you are not being selfish. You are refilling yourself so that your service flows with joy instead of frustration. Even nature teaches us this. A tree doesn't bear fruit all year long. It has seasons of giving and seasons of rest. But during its rest, it is not useless. It is gathering strength. It is preparing. It is nurturing itself so that when the season comes again, it can give abundantly. You too must live this way. Don't try to give endlessly without pausing, without replenishing. Allow yourself to rest, to grow, to heal, because then, when you give again, your giving will be pure, strong, and sustainable. Sometimes we wear exhaustion as a badge of honor. We think, if I'm tired all the time, it must mean I'm doing good work. If I'm drained, it means I'm truly serving. But no, exhaustion doesn't prove love. Balance does. True service means you give from your wholeness, not from your brokenness. From your strength, not your weakness. So, my friends, balance your life. Yes, serve others, help others, support others, but don't forget to support yourself. Don't forget to take breaks. Don't forget to say, "I need a little time to recharge." Because when you are full, your service flows naturally. And when you are empty, your service becomes forced. Always remember this: sacrifice that destroys you helps no one. But service that flows from a balanced, healthy, peaceful you, that is a blessing to the world.